also get in Dov Zakim from Washington, D.C. onto the conversation. He is a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Dov, thanks very much for being here on the broadcast. A very significant a statement that we have been telling our viewers about coming in from the UN chief, where he warned about given the differences that the world is witnessing at this point, as the divisions between the countries widen, the risks of conflict are growing as well. And that has been something that India has been very well aware of, and which is why it's made those efforts to build consensus. And that has been the overarching theme as well for India's G20 presidency. To what extent do you see the divisions among the G20 member states, though, impacting the outcome?
Well, the absence of President Xi, I mean, he has sent his prime minister, and that's not a trivial individual, Li Keqiang, but the absence of President Xi, and of course the absence of Vladimir Putin, who can't really travel anywhere. He couldn't go to the BRICS conference, for instance, as well. That tells you that the split between those countries and their supporters and the West is as wide as ever. I know that India has been trying to chart a middle course. My guess is that, particularly on Ukraine, you're not going to see very much said in the communique. India has actually had a big win already, as I understand it, which is an agreement to bring the African Union in to the G20. The European Union is in, and I think Prime Minister Modi in particular has felt that the global South needs to be part of this very important grouping of countries. So that's going to be a big win. There's been some mention of the so-called Reaper deal. It's actually the Sea Guardian, which is a modified Reaper that operates as a naval drone. It's a $3 billion deal. And just to let you know how far things have gone, when I first started dealing with India many years ago, the most we ever did with India was if an Indian ship happened to pass an American ship in the Indian Ocean, there was some kind of formalized exercise. That was about it. In the past year, as has been mentioned, President Biden and Prime Minister Modi have worked wonders, not only in this big sale, but I would say that the cooperation on jet engines, the cooperation on high technology generally, which has always been difficult, has been moved so far along. And I would add, the real challenge for both the Prime Minister and the President is to make the bureaucracies work. That has been a problem always. But I think with determination at the top, you're going to see movement between the United States and India in the security world that you haven't ever seen before.
What does India's emergence as the voice of the global South and India's G20 presidency really mean for its position on the global map, for its global stature?
Well, I think it's terribly important for a couple of reasons. First, it means that China cannot be the only speaker for the global South, that India, with an economy that is growing very, very quickly, even as China's economy right now is suffering. And I would say that whatever numbers Beijing puts out are probably an exaggeration anyway. Situation is much, much worse. They've got an aging society and young people who don't have jobs. This is a huge opportunity for India to speak out for the global South. And because of the good relations that it has with the West in general and with us, the United States in particular, it could be a voice for the global South that China could never be.
Right, Dov Zakim, thanks very much for joining us here on the broadcast. Unfortunately, we're completely out of time in this edition. We will be taking a very short break at this point, but thanking our correspondents, Jessica, Pravind, as well as Siddhant, for getting us those insights and the latest on the expectations from that crucial bilateral meeting, which will be taking place between US President Joe Biden and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in just a short while from now. A wide range of issues on the table, like we just discussed, and the outcome and the deliverables carrying a lot of weight also for India's G20 presidency overall and for the strengthening partnership between the two sides. Those visuals of the American president arriving in New Delhi for the G20 Summit just a short while back, and he will be meeting the Indian Prime Minister for a bilateral meeting. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.